Alliances turn to ban.
Are you serious? Video? Oh my goodness.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Oh my goodness. XSplit just froze up a bit on me here. Let's have some patience so I can change the screen. This was supposed to be a wonderfully smooth introduction here, but as you can see, we're currently stuck at live at Starladder. The XSplit will come to eventually. This happens at times. It will come back to life, I believe. I'm just going to hope to God that maybe the audio is still leaking through and that this will eventually come through. While we're on the line and everyone can kind of audio only this is Coddle Guy, but I'm not going to be going alone for game number 2 of OG versus Alliance. I got joining me remotely Scant, are you coming in loud and clear? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? So that's...
Oh, nope, I don't
Hello?
think so. I have Skype muted. Sorry, Scant. Let's give it another go. Hello, how are you doing, my friend? Sorry about
that. That's alright. I'm well. And you? You've been doing some casting already, right? This is, I think, your 4th game of the day?
No. This is going to be just my 2nd game of the day. No. People are leading it like up. I'm that fatigued, but I'm actually not. I'm just juggling a lot of hats right now. We have everything smoothed over right now. I have my production cap on, my VOD hat on, my caster, and my cameraman all ready to go, Scant. But I do appreciate you joining me here for game number 2, OG vs Alliance. So before this, though, it was OD Pixel and Rhyme who were doing OG versus Na'Vi. I don't know if you caught that series at all, and for anyone out there who didn't, spoiler alert, it was an upset. Na'Vi actually managed to take down OG, so now OG are kind of on the bounce back right now and maybe taking out some aggression on a team like Alliance, because game 1 was pretty swift and nice there, Scant. I don't know if you got to catch much of the game, did you?
I caught most of the 1st and 2nd game, not much of the 3rd game, but I actually cast Navi's last qualifier match against HR, which is a couple days ago, to get into this tournament with Lama Down Under, and I can tell you that Navi showed some kind of the old Navi magic there, because they won a game against Mega Creeps to win that match, and it wasn't just like the enemy team HR just got Megas and then they won. It was like Navi fought against Megas for 10 minutes and won. So maybe we don't want to panic too much about OG's form, seeing that Navi beat them, and just say, look, well done, Navi. And I do see that OG did pretty well in the previous game against Alliance here. Alliance, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about Alliance. I actually thought going into the Frankfurt Major that they were like a real possibility for a dark horse. I thought that their form had been improving throughout the season. It looked like something had actually clicked in their team, and then at the Major it just looked like whatever had clicked wasn't clicking anymore. And at what was it, DreamHack now after that? Same thing. Didn't look like, I don't know what's going on in the team, but definitely early on in the season I thought they were finally getting into their groove, and somewhere along the way they lost it.
Alliances.
But Scant, how many times have we felt this way before with Alliance and Na'Vi? You know, it's starting to feel like a bit of a facade at this point, that they just kind of take their fan base and they're like, hey guys, we're coming back now. We're back now. We got it. We got a groove, and this is our patch, our meta, our time. We're back, baby. And then something goes wrong terribly. They get figured out and they realize quickly they can't adjust as fast. I just feel like they take that little bit of extra time to kind of find their own bit of groove, and by the time they do and they feel like they're back in their prime, everyone else has already made the next couple of steps into what's moving on next. And I saw it as well. It was nice seeing Dendy pick up something like the Magnus, like he's been pulling out recently, and obviously we know Magnus is a hot commodity along with someone like an Ember, so it kind of fits the groove of what Na'Vi can make happen. But it just kind of throws me back to Starladder Season 10, when I thought at that point Na'Vi were back, and they had Dendy Magnus mid every game, and then eventually it got banned, and the Na'Vi dream just kind of died. So until I actually see it happen in their scan, it's going to make me a hard believer for either Alliance or Na'Vi. But who knows? Yeah, maybe they can take down OG. We'll see.
So for Alliance in particular, I feel like if you look at CR3 all the way back when Alliance was the big team, and this team is roughly the same as that team, 4 of the 5 players the same, they always won economically. They were kind of the team that like perfected the style of winning a Dota game economically, just by like having better ways to get resources and control the map. And I just don't feel like Dota's there right now. And while I feel like this Alliance team is clicking more than it was a couple months ago as a team, in terms of their drafts, they still, a lot of the time, feels like they're trying to win the game economically by just getting extra value out of farm, out of lanes. It goes a bit with the Radiant preference that a lot of the teams show. And honestly, I mean, this is something Nox and I have been chatting about a lot recently. It seems like Dire's actually doing better a lot of the time because teams like CDC showed at the International that you can shut down the Radiant jungle and then suddenly they don't have that advantage. And coming back to this draft, Alliance actually start with the Tusk and the Darkseer, which I like that from them because here I'm criticizing them saying this is a team that wants to win economically. The current meta, we don't know that much. I mean, I don't think any of the teams are completely settled on what the current meta is about, but they all tend to agree that it's a lot to do with winning fights. And so I like to see Alliance going for these heroes that are going to try and be aimed at winning fights rather than perhaps falling back on that the old habit of let's win by out farming them.
Oh goodness, what is happening right now? That I was like, this is going to be a gyrocopter or something. That feels like it might fit the bill. You got your Darkseer vacuum called down Tusk to be your backup. Could be a bit wishy-washy against the PL and stuff, but why is this guy popping up now? Scant, you're a stats man. You hang out with Knoxville a lot, which is a dangerous thing. I've hung out with that guy plenty, and he likes his gym, so you got to be careful around him. But Keeper of the Light, this guy has got one of the worst win records in all Dota, and I know this of all people, Scant. I want to say he's like 2-18 right now or something. Why are we seeing him here and now? Is it just that Ake knows that I'm casting and he wants to give me something? Because
I was actually gonna say like,
no idea.
Is it like he saw your name or I don't know? But, I think look, it's actually one of the strongest supports in terms of combining with Darkseer. Like they got
Night Stalker too, by the way, which is just the worst thing ever to see when you commit to a Keeper of the Light. Then they get a Night Stalker, and you're like, well, I just hate my life right now. But sorry, go ahead. It's just
yeah, you're right. Because Coddle's got the kind of buy ags with get value out of day, but Night Stalker just makes it night all game. It's horrendous, and obviously you know all about that. But I think Keeper of the Light goes pretty well with Darkseer as a support which deals a lot of damage into that vacuum. If you get the Illuminate vacuum really set up really nicely, it also actually fits into what I was talking about before about games being determined by important team fights. Blinding Light does a lot in those team fights, very, very useful. And it's pretty good against the Winter Wyvern as well, because obviously when Winter Wyvern freezes an ally so that they can't take physical damage, they're also stuck on the spot and can't get out of the way of this massive, ball of light that blows up in their face.
But like, why do they have to commit to him there, Scant? Like, I thought that was going to be the gyrocopter, which they clearly still go for, but it's like they decide we'll just pull out the Coddle now because they'll obviously ban it in labs or something. So, it's just like you could have saved it, and then
there's a tricky thing here, right? So this is, I mean, it's something we often discuss in casts, like why pick a hero that they're not going to ban anyway early on, and I think that drafting is just such a complicated thing that it might be that what S4 is thinking is, I'm not completely sold that I'm going to pick Gyrocopter, so I want to hold that pick for a bit. And so you pick the hero that you're sure you want in your draft, as opposed to the one that you might go for something else. Basically what I'm saying is there's lots of different considerations going to the draft, and it's not just pick the one that they won't ban. There's more to it.
I appreciate you. You're definitely the devil's advocate, and I do appreciate that. I tend to get a bit hostile about something like this. Of course, I'm going to be very involved when a certain hero like this one will pop up. It's one of the few I feel like I know a bit about, but I'm sorry, just like the dark presence here is just, and literally is that Night Stalker just is the instant response, and the utility of this Coddle hero just becomes very fragile at that point to me. And his lane presence is already a bit yeah, if you put them together with maybe something fancy, a Darkseer vacuum illuminate, then go aggro with it, which we'll see like the demons do from time to time, you can make it work. But I feel like just outside of that, he's not that single farmer cab service, that just play style just doesn't seem to mesh, especially against a team like OG, one of those teams that just pioneered the kind of dictated pace you want to see out of most of the games, at least in this patch right now. And well, wouldn't you know it, they're going to round out their fantastical lineup here with an Alchemist. Now, I can't help but feel like maybe this could be a little greedy for them. Do you feel confident enough that maybe the Night Stalker alone is going to be enough in the mid game? Because I feel like Alchemist and PL do need a bit of time before they can really get too hot and heavy. Or I may be wrong.
So this is actually a test for Alliance, I think, because OG's Alchemist, it to some extent, it's kind of like that you are playing against OG, you don't ban Alchemist, Miracle gets Alchemist, you lose. But actually, the history suggests that the CIS teams, especially Vegas Squad and Virtus Pro, do really well against Alchemist, including OG's Alchemist. And it's because they're super aggressive and like take control of the game very early on, shut down your jungle, shut down your farm. Alliance do not play that playstyle usually. They just don't. If they can play that playstyle, then yes, they could punish what looks like potentially a greedy draft. OG have got two big farmers. Yeah, they've got two heroes to save, heal, react, and the Night Stalker to control the map. But the question for me is, do Alliance put that pressure on the Alchemist? I don't know Alliance to be a team that applies that kind of early pressure, but they certainly have the heroes to do it this game, so the test is going to be in execution.
Yeah, they're definitely going pretty push heavy now, it looks like. DK, I was like fumbling with the idea of maybe like a Brewmaster, like a hero that S4 himself likes to pull out time and time again. Maybe he's had a dramatic impression since Frankfurt, and the old bug that was happening for Brew kind of threw him off his game a bit, but he's going to for the Dragon Knight here, and we know Dragon Knight Gyrocopter and even maybe a little bit of Keeper of the Light to be very push intensive here, objective based. So we'll see if they try to take a hold of the map and take control before either of these heroes can really be a problem. But I just fear they don't have enough to really be a threat to the Alchemist early on. Like, do they have enough presence to really, stop him from getting bounty runes and taking stacks and stuff like that? Or do you think that maybe just OG are gonna not have too much trouble finding the farm they want?
I think it's going to depend a lot on how the lane stage goes. If Alliance get the lane stage they want and then can push down towers early on and then take over, sure. Out of interest though, with the bounty rune thing, I think I was wondering when the game started. I almost think that this is a draft where Alliance might fight over that first bounty rune, which is something we actually very rarely see against Alchemists. Usually, the team that picks the Alchemist just makes sure that you can't contest that rune. But Alliance have very strong level 1 here.
If you land the blast, yes, I agree. You can definitely get a potential setup here. You do have crit. He has actually already committed for Arctic Burn here, so he can't double back, get any sort of defensive Cold Embrace at this point. Just obviously looking to take away a lot from the jungle, maybe anticipating that Kyle's going to be one making stacks and hoping to have himself or someone else farm it. They want to just take preemptive measures here, and already OG are heading out. Nice little block here, though, onto Miracle, and meanwhile, No-Tail eating a full rocket barrage. He's going to get isolated from Loda, so they'll head out the back door, but for the rest of the team, they're going to get muscled back, and my golly, it looks like maybe this Miracle Alk is not going to get the bounty rune, or
he's just going to
save the top one for him. Yeah, oh well. Has to do a little bit of extra mileage for it, and they might lack a bit in the blocking in mid lane, but he'll still be able to get that extra boost to gold.
It's very intelligent of OG actually to recognize that Alliance was strong enough to muscle them off one rune, but it required Alliance to be all grouped up on one side, so they couldn't actually prevent both sides. It delays the Alchemists ever so slightly, but it's a victory for them. I think it's always a victory for the team with the Alchemist to get that bounty rune by whatever means necessary.
So let's look at the actual laning setup that they went through with this. Another dual off lane setup here from the side of OG. They're going to do their Phantom Lancer with the Dazzle here, obviously minor heal bomb potential, and they have great zoning to at least keep Bulldog away, but it looks like Alliance have just made the call at that moment to put their pressure back towards the top lane here. Ake was flirting around the mid lane a bit to help out the start of the mid lane, but they're up here now, and, it's a Tusk gyro lane, a good proper snowball, rocket barrage, and they could end up with a kill. Should Moon be afraid in this setup, you think?
I think he can definitely die. I think that Minats, you got to respect Minats' Tusk, and if he gets the right ice shards at the right time, there's potential for a kill, absolutely. At the same time, Moon Meander is one of the best Tusks in the world himself, so he's probably going to be aware of the risks playing up against that Tusk. Well, as I say that, he gets caught, but Gyrocopter's not nearby, so I think he gets out of this one.
My goodness, I didn't have the overlay change, but we do have it changed now, just in time for First Blood, everyone. Potentially here, it could be on the Moon, but no, he tangos up, and he's got that extra buffed regen, but oh no, he's looking to hide in the corner instead, and now he's going to get blasted apart. It's going to be Ake on the Coddle that is going to be taking the First Blood.
Yeah,
apologies again about the overlay, everybody, but we got it resolved. Sorry, Scant, please continue.
I think Moon's thinking what I was saying. I think he's thinking Gyro's too far away, they can't kill me. And he must have known that he could have been ice sharded and blocked in there, but not respecting. I mean, Keep of the Light, not a hero you play against very often. It's possible he hasn't played against it at all recently. It's not like it comes up in pubs a lot. And maybe not respecting the damage output from the hero.
Bottom lane, minor engagement on the Bulldog again. He has no mana to surge away. Looks like he's in a bit of trouble now. And, oh, he will be able to get the mana there at the end. Does manage to step off a bit, but he's going to have to, you know, it's almost at that point where he might as well be dead. He has to take that long trip all the way back to base. It looks like he'll have the mana for a TP, but it's a lot of time out from the lane, and No-Tail's going to continue to farm up. He's already heading towards the top of the CS right now, which, do I have to say, S4 is head of right now, so he's holding his own against the Alchemist. It's just a matchup we don't get to see very often there, Scant. DK versus, you know, Alchemist.
The lane should be fine. I mean, this is actually like an old school. Is that another dead
minor
move?
move? Yeah, they're going to get Moon here. They got him down. They just isolate him. And, you know, as I said before, it's just might be something he might need to be afraid about. But he will get caught that time.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's got to be the task that starts the fights every time, and I do feel like Moon knows the hero very well. So it may be just underestimating the effects of the other two heroes. But going back to that mid lane, Dragon Knight versus Alchemist is actually a big throwback to like 2 years ago in China, where this was like every game the thing. But obviously these heroes are very different now, both of them, especially the Alchemist. And even though S4 is getting more creeps, I'm pretty sure if we check the net worth, it's already clear that Miracle's got more gold. He got the starting bounty rune, he got a bounty rune at 2 minutes, and he's probably going to keep snowballing his farm. So this lane is not really, I mean, Dragon Knight's got no potential, regardless of his last hitting, to stop the Alchemist farm. It's just there to, hey, I can get value against you too. And the plan to deal with the Alchemist is probably going to come later. We'll probably see Alliance take down that top tower reasonably early if they can, and try and just take over the enemy jungle.
And then at that point for them, it's got to be go, go, go. Because if there's any hesitation along the way or they lose a big fight, then OG could just swallow them up that point. Next thing you know, you got a core Moon who builds up his axe first, and the potential for Alliance to take off just doesn't ever happen. And I agree with you. I think that it's just going to be a point when they're just going to say, let's get the ball rolling, and it could be coming with that tier 1 tower and just flowing right through the woods. Because as of right now, they have no way to stop them from getting this farm, and there's already stacks being made in the OG jungle right now. Just a succulent treat that I'm sure Miracle is just getting ready to get his hands on right now. So for him, is it kind of steady as he goes? We know Miracle and his Alchemist build to be a little bit different. We saw through the Frankfurt Major, he was one to go with the, you know, Solar Crest / Shadowblade Blink kind of a thing. Are we expecting a bit of the same? Do you think here when he's put up against so much push heavy, or do you still go for Radiance? What do you think would be the optimal Alchemist kind of build up?
I think Miracle will go the Miracle build. I think it's called the Miracle build for a reason, and I also think that it's actually, from watching it enough, I feel like it's strictly better in almost every situation than the Radiance build. The Radiance build, if you feel like you could safely follow that progression, and that it's just going to like give you some guaranteed win because of the snowball farm, sure, but then you've just outdrafted the enemy team so substantially that why even thinking about builds in the first place? It's pretty clear that teams that play against Alchemist plan to challenge the Alchemist snowballing a farm, and therefore I think it makes sense for the Alchemist to not to like, you know, err on the less greedy side, because if you're going Rash Relic and the enemy team's focusing you, that's basically asking for trouble.
Speaking of trouble here, what kind of trouble is Moon getting into? Bet Loader's in a good mood after what happened today. I'm not one to quick check the hot drama, but I know there was a certain fisticuffs made at a past DreamHack here with Loda, so he's feeling ripe. Hasn't been able to play Dota since then, so maybe he's in an extra Dota frisky mood. Didn't go so well for him in Game 1, however, but looks like after a brief pause, we are going to be back underway here, Scant, and we'll have to see if Alliance are going to be able to follow through with the objective at hand. It's becoming more transparent as far as what their win condition is, but I just feel like there's a lot of insurance here for OG to have something to fall back on. And Bulldog is still trying to get anything he can, still without a soul ring right now. Poor little pointy-headed guy's just going to have to wait a bit longer.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to me that Moon is slightly ahead of Bulldog. I mean, they got the same CS, but he's slightly higher net worth, getting a bit more than him, despite the fact that he's died twice. And that's something, sometimes we can overstate the kills early on. Sure, it makes a difference to Alliance getting extra value, but Moon's still roughly where he needs to be at first night. I think he'll be able to participate if he finds a rotation to make. So the deaths, yeah, not a huge deal to him. The kills maybe a bigger deal to Alliance.
So if they look to go on a move here and find a mini partnership to try to take advantage of this night, which I feel like they might have to wait a little bit here. Is there a certain place they should probably go and put priority into? Is it attempting to make a go into this DK? Feels like for now he's just going to be on the defensive here. He's eating blast, for God's sakes, through the trees, so I don't see him being too hostile soon. But is there a priority that OG should look to go for in one of these lanes?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I do feel like OG strats is a lot about Miracle having the game he wants, which, I mean, that's very often OG strats. Well, there's actually going to dive behind the tower and Meander.
Oh,
he's
goodness.
got a bunch of tangos, though.
Oh, he's trying to manipulate the knight a bit right there, but it's not going to happen. They eventually just swarm and make their move, get prompted and enough to pull the trigger and get their committed dive on the moon, and it's just a hard lane right now for him, and this aggro setup is working good. Is it good enough to make up for the other two lanes, though? Because Alchemist is still finding good farm, and we know No-Tail's doing pretty damn solid in the bottom lane.
The tricky thing actually is Moon. I mean, these two conversations go together. You're asking who's Moon going to target, and then you're asking is it good enough that they're shutting only him down? Well, the tricky thing for OG is that Nightstalker's here in a draft where there aren't actually a lot of obvious ways to group up and like Nightstalker plus Dazzle does not make a kill. Nightstalker plus Wyvern usually won't, not at this early level. So he kind of has to combine with a Phantom Lancer. But then it's a bit obvious, I feel. I feel like if Nightstalker goes missing from this lane, Alliance know what's happening. Well, he's actually just diving straight onto Loader.
Yeah, there are simultaneous action here. Bottom, they're going to make a committed go onto Bulldog. It looks like they will be able to get the finish on that one. So back at top lane, are they able to grab Moon? They get the shard connection, a blast on through. They need a bit more, though. Can they get it? Oh, goodness. He's going to run to the trees. Oh, God. Oh, back and forth. Oh, nice sidestep from Nuts. Oh, he's making it back away. He is out. Oh, he's good. Oh, the blast. Wow, he sidestepped that one somehow, and he will live on. What a hot mess happening there. The keeper is actually going to be going down through the Dire. And Moon. How the hell did he get away?
I think Ake is going to regret his decision there because, I mean, he definitely didn't need to die. It's one of the situations where you feel like you should have killed the Nightstalker and, you know, damn it, I'm just going to do whatever I can, and then you end up killing yourself to the tower.
Well,
Moon is
very
pretty
fortunate
good
there
at
for
these.
Moon. Yeah.
He's good at those clutch situations.
Works out to his better after being spanked a bit earlier. Won't be able to get one back for himself, but bottom lane, OG just continue to be a bit of a nuisance here. They're getting free push onto this tier 1, and Bulldog was going to head there, but opts to go mid lane instead. It looks like Alliance are up to something fishy, and they don't even have Loda's level 6 for this. They're just like, he's doing stacks, let's get in there and stop him, which he is. Yeah. They have the vision. Can they stop him from doing it?
They could get the kill, yeah, they get the kill
on the snowball. They got him, and they're going to go for the stack. Oh, this is beautiful, Scant.
Yeah, and this is another part of why maybe you pick Keeper of the Light in conjunction with Gyrocopter, Darkseer. Alliance are really kitted up to steal stacks whenever they get into this position, so the difficult part is actually just killing the Alchemist, pushing him out. Once they do that, it's very easy to shut down the farm.
Now they do get the bottom tier 1 tower here, but they are still on the prowl. They sweep up their whole army and just swarm on in. It's a poor little crit. Free Fire comes out from S4, and they're going to get the finish on that one. Alliance pull ahead to 5-2. With the back end of this Dragon form, they're going to take down the tier 1 mid lane. Nicely done from Alliance. A couple of good grabs, and I was talking a bit before, Scan, about, you know, the trigger point when Alliance are like, it's time to go. And it's starting to feel like the time is now, if not very soon.
Yeah, and I think it speaks quite highly of Alliance that they're able to just casually go into, smoke into the enemy jungle, kill the Alchemist and steal his stacks. Because if you look at the supports on OG, it's a Dazzle and a Winter Wyvern. The majority of their job for the early game is to keep Alchemist from dying. So when you've picked such a defensive support duo, and the hero their pick 2 support goes down, that's very, very important, I think. Because it's not like they're creating value somewhere else in the map while that happens.
Mid lane, a hasted S4. Dragon tails up Fly here. Fly does have the Grave. Oh, gets hit with the blast, but will get the Grave off in time. He is running. But the poor little Rastafarian man has nowhere to go. And man, he just lights him up right in the ass. Beautiful job there from S4, and he gets the easy pick with the convenient S4 rune. How wonderful.
So Alliance are showing us their own brand of aggression, yeah. It's going pretty well in terms of kills, in terms of stealing the stacks. They're gonna go deep again on Meander, but I don't think he's got ult C. There's no way they actually force the kill here, I think.
Dire's top tower.
Also, like, fool me once, shame on you. I'm not gonna go into those woods where you are. But he'll peace out, and that means that tier 1 is gonna be free for Alliance to take up instead. Very, very important tower to grab. This is, I mean, Alliance already made their way into the OG jungle and planted those very aggressive wards so they can get the vision on those stacks, but now they can have the extra presence of mind that they can definitely control the top half of this map, removing that tier 1 and an ability for OG to kind of, engage if necessary. But now Alliance at this mid lane here, OG are going to be forced to pull back. It's obvious OG are just not looking for any fights right now. They know that their prime comes later on, and they're just going to take what farm they can in the meantime.
I gotta say, Miracle's really not that far behind. I mean, well, he's not behind at all. He's the richest, but he's not that behind on his planned timetable. And it's just the beauty of Alchemist in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing. Alliance managed to pressure him. They managed to kill him. They managed to steal some of his stacks, and he's still right up there at the top, progressing at a pretty decent rate. So mid lane, that's going to be quite a crit caught out, and I think he probably doesn't survive with the Grave. I don't think that's enough.
Oh, he's splitting them away. Oh, he does end up going down. On the other side, look at S4 making a move on the fly here, and it looks like they will get the finish. A double kill for the Dragon Knight. And OG just kind of have to take it and walk back and away. Alliance still showing that this is their time right now. They're happy to take a fight, and they're going to continue to push forward and follow up with objectives here, get wards down, and maintain control. It's holding on to this as long as possible, not letting OG get an inch, because they're a team that shows that you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Bulldog is going to need to farm up so he can get that vacuum wall combo as, like, a good backup plan for Alliance when they need a team fight.
Well, is S4 actually maybe? No, probably not. See Miracle charging forward, actually hit the stun on him, and No-Tail headed to the mid lane, but nothing's going to come of it. And I'm actually wondering what's the timing for OG to proactively take a fight? Because so far it's looked like whenever fighting breaks out, Alliance is the cause, OG's trying to run away, and it's just do they escape or not. I don't know. OG is a team that is remarkable at how well they stick to the plan once they've got a plan. Once they've decided, okay guys, we're doing this thing, they do it excellently. And usually the teams that beat them are the teams that kind of throw them off a bit, put them out of their comfort zone. Alliance, I think, have somewhat succeeded so far, but I don't know. I don't think we've seen OG taking their proactive steps just yet, and maybe this mid attempt is the first one.
And a lot of that is credit to Fly. And from what I hear from the players, he really does a solid job keeping them in line and keeping them to that game plan you were just praising about. Look at this. They catch someone on the back lines here. It's No-Tail. Uh-oh. The wrong side of the fence, and he's going to be going down. Uppercut blast on through. Ake's going to snag up that one for himself. And
he
OG
didn't
are not going to be able to follow up.
He just didn't expect to run into a whole team. I mean, he was actually trying to flank, expecting maybe 1 or 2 heroes to come defend the tower. And it turns out he finds 4 of them.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Alliance just happy to keep it all together at this point. Someone going to go for a mech on their team, and it looks like Bulldog is obviously going to be the one to do so. And, well, as I check him out right now, he is in a bit of trouble here. Luckily, S4, his partner in crime, is going to show up, get the Dragon Tail off, and Moon is now going to be the one on the run. It is a vacuum, but it's only level 1. They don't want to overcommit for anything, and it is nightfall after all. Moon's going to be able to make it away hastily. Does force out this dragon form, however, and he's going to just have to use it to farm instead. But do you imagine that Alliance are even going to turn it up further? Let's take it to 11, let's say, Scant, once they get this mech together, and Bulldog just maybe an extra level or so?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Alliance actually quite commendably are playing a very fast game right now. It's the main thing that other pros talked about when they refer to CDEC, that they just play very quickly in the early game and people don't have time to react, and I think Alliance are doing that. Every time we look at something happening, like we see, oh, Moon caught someone, but no, S4's already there. They're trying to pressure mid-tower, No-Tail tries to go around, they're already there. Alliance are actually not wasting much time, they're not sitting on their hands, taking too long to go heal or get that TP or go to that place. Their movements are pretty crisp here, so I think it's actually looking quite promising for them right now, and I fully expect them to take down some more towers pretty soon.
And okay, already building towards that Ags, but bottom in the woods here, Bulldog gonna get caught out, silenced up. Moon's gonna smack him a few times and then step back and away. Knows that it's dangerous territory ahead, and they do have this very deep ward and can see the shift over even from S4 and company. So playing the map and playing his hero to the limit as it is his Night Stalker, but overall can't go too aggressive at this point. They might think about making a go on to Nuts. No, they're going to allow him to dance around this mid lane a bit. And it's just OG just continuing to farm up on the side while they can before Alliance do decide to come together.
You see what Ake bought this gem? It's the final piece of the puzzle for Alliance. If they keep going at the pace they're going with this gem, they are going to be able to probably choke out OG out of the game. But on the other hand, having bought the gem, if they lose a big fight, it's that much more of a loss.
Oh yeah.
So next couple of minutes, very, very decisive, I think. To Alliance keep pressuring OG and just like constantly reducing the space they have to farm. Or if they lose a fight at some point, suddenly Miracle just gets unleashed and gets Benny's got a Shadow Blade. So that's, I mean, gem is just the item to buy right now, and being positioned in the right place, you can really neutralize half of the Alchemist farm at this point.
Well, all the ducks starting to come in a row here for Alliance here. And as you said, it's a very fragile plan. Bottom lane, that debut of the Shadow Blade could be happening here on the Loda, and it looked like it could be a successful one. Moonori rotates in. Bulldog shows up, helps with the mech. He is on the run here. Can he make it back and away? Oh, he's going to get bopped. He stops the moment to drop the call down, and I don't think he had much of a chance anyways. He gets dropped, and Alliance are smoked up and heading over here. This is going to be without Loda. I don't know if they can take this fight, but they're certainly going to give it a go. And they might have caught out Miracle. Yeah, back out on his own. Stun, roll through, and they didn't anticipate Alliance being right on the other side of that wall, and they just jump on over and make it a trade.
Yeah, and S4 got his own Shadow Blade, so that's a very powerful initiation tool. I just wonder if Loda's going to feel comfortable split pushing a lane on his own after what just happened, though. Whenever Alchemist's off the map, he's going to feel very nervous. I mean, there's Nightstalker on top of that. So it might be a further signal for Alliance to just start creeping up as of now.
They got to be careful bottom lane here. Help with the surge, and they'll step back and away. It comes at a cost of the supports taking down that mid tier 1 tower, but now No-Tail looking to go for an illusion. Oh, he stunned the illusion. And that means that he was able to kind of follow up that. Oh, they get a snowball, though, and an uppercut. And in the end, it looks like Alliance will have the last laugh, and they could possibly get more. Look at this. Moon's walking in. He'll eat an urn. They get a dragon tail onto him. And a blast flies through at the end. But it is going to be S4 who claims that life. And quickly, Alliance have just strung together 2 kills. And they're going to continue their pressure here on the bottom lane.
And I don't think Miracle Shadow Blade's going to do anything against all 5 heroes and a gem. Where is the gem now? What? It's on the courier. I guess Arcade didn't feel comfortable running into the fight with it, so it's coming back out to them now, but they actually don't have it on them right now.
Maybe the fight when they didn't have loaded, they're like, just in case this doesn't go well, I'll throw it down on the side. But yeah, it's coming on the way right now. They're going to be able to clear out the tier 1. I'm sure Ake would love to kind of hang around and scout any aggro potential wards from OG. Won't find anything down here, but hey, another step in the right direction for Alliance as they clear out the final tier 1 tower, and the farming pattern here for OG just becomes a little bit thinner. But it does look like No-Tail is going to be leading in with the early Blade of Alacrity. Are we anticipating straight to the fighting diffusal build-up on his PL, given the time that he has to work with, or is he going to build like Yasha and still just continue to go down that farming road?
He does Yasha, but I think there's just maybe too much pressure on them right now, unless they take a good fight sometime soon. I think he probably needs to go straight into that diffusal blade.
Bottom lane, S4 going to get a quick solo pick onto Fly, who's just side pressuring a lane a bit on his Dazzle, but going to be taken advantage of, and will go down there. Just another notch in the belt for Alliance at this point, while they continue to farm up. Hey, Miracle, though, does have a Sage waiting in his stash, so the items keep rolling in for the rich. And he still holds the top of the net worth here, but there is a bit of a gap starting to build up between him and his buddy No-Tail.
Yeah, we're getting to a point where if Alliance kill Miracle early on in a fight, that's it. Like the fight's essentially over. They could kill everyone. OG need to run away. If they can't, if they try go on Miracle and the Wyvern and the Dazzle just keep him alive, things could turn out really badly for Alliance. But so far so good. And Moonmi under the top lane, I think, is going to go down next.
Yeah, they snowball in. They get everything set up, and just a matter of time. 3-man swarm in, and not much the Nightstalker could do about it. But he's just kind of throwing his body out there towards the top lane a bit. All for space, I suppose, as Miracle's going to be farming up the Ancients, and No-Tail's going to continue his jungle route, and well, he does have a Yasha right now, so they're just going to continue to truck on with the farm a bit. Doesn't really help with his durability, but he'll have that little bit of extra move speed, attack speed, and damage to kind of continue to build up the farm here. So I just can't help but feel like Scan, as long as Alliance just continue going through that list, they're going to be a big problem here.
Yeah, it confirms something I was suspecting actually that Yasha pick up. It's OG are actually playing the economic game here. It's something I was criticizing Alliance for being like too stuck on the economic game and maybe struggling with that in general in the last year or two. That's what OG are doing, and it's not just the Alchemist, it's the way they keep splitting up on the map. A lot of the time we see Alliance catch someone on OG, and it doesn't even look like OG's that phased. It's like, okay, well there's other people doing other things in other places, and fine, you picked someone off. And I don't know, I'm not completely sure. I mean, OG definitely is a team that's good at striking the balance of being able to win fights and playing in the economic game. But I do feel like right now they're quite committed to keeping Miracle alive in a fight, and I don't know if they can.
They're about to surround him right now. It looked like they spotted Miracle farming, but they're looking to engage near the Roche pit here. Miracle is going to be caught on the other side of the fight from the high ground. He's going to commit a concoction stun. Oh, and the curse follow-up. S4 is in huge trouble. He'll go down. Blinding Light. Okay, trying to send again to the high ground, but this time it won't work on the PL. He'll just easily doppelganger down. And Alliance now on the run here, just from one Miracle, who is just looking to steam run him. And can he get a hold of the Bulldog? He certainly can with the stun, and we'll begin to just chunk him down a bit. A little bit of shards will separate, but it will not save him in the end. Alliance will lose 2. Felt a bit awkward there at the start scan. It looked like they saw Miracle farming up on the high ground and just couldn't help themselves to kind of engage near the Roche pit and see what was going on there. Maybe they didn't see him.
I don't know if they saw him or not, but they didn't have vision up, as far as I could tell. And OG did have vision up, so despite having the gem, they could see less. There was also a Night Stalker in the game, and even though he doesn't have the Agnum Scepter, that's significant in terms of what vision each team has. So I think Alliance really getting caught out there. They're gonna lose the rush now for it as well. And this is exactly that turning point in the game that OG are looking for.
Yep, and that possible one fight that Alliance don't get their way, things could just start to house of cards on them and just begin to tumble down and down. I say if they lose one more significant fight, I mean, OG could just kind of take control at that point. But hey, they have preemptive measures. Alliance have a big old boy stack right here for a lot, a certain loaded to farm up to play a bit of catch up here on his fancy little gyrocopter. And S4 is nearly 2k gold and trying to finish out his BKB, but they need to hustle because OG will continue to kind of take over.
You notice they gave the Aegis to No-Tail, not to Miracle, and I don't think that's because No-Tail is more important to them. It's more because I think that their strats is already premised on the fact that if they go into a fight, Miracle's not going to die. He's super farmed, they've got heroes to keep him alive, and I think they figured that if he's going to die, like, things are already pretty dire, so let's just give the Aegis to No-Tail. He's the one who needs to catch up and farm.
And I feel like it's going to be also one of those Aegises that they're not looking to use offensively too much. It just helps them stall out the game a bit more, and they know that with this Aegis, and if a fight is to break out that they'll be in attendance for, they actually will have a bit of an advantage here. And so Alliance are more crippled to continue farming up all they can. Another stack in order here for Loda to try to finish out his SNY. He's simply missing that frickin' little bandit elf skin. Have it all together and ready to go. The dream of an Ake picking up an Agnum Scepter is not going to be happening whatsoever. We all, obviously figured it might not be the best choice in a game where you're going against a Night Stalker, but has opted in the meantime instead for just a trusty Vite Booster just to try to stay alive. But the problem is now is Moon does have his Agnum Scepter there, Scant, and now the vision is all in the favor of OG. If Alliance were hoping to come together and make a good team fight or a good push happen, they're going to be doing it in the dark. And OG are already on the move now, smoked up.
Yeah, I've heard professional players say that forget about Doom or Slaughter or Shadowfiend or whatever, it's Night Stalker's ulti and his Agnums that are the most broken things in this game, and what we're going to see now, S4's going down again, and this is just, these are not deaths that Alliance can actually afford to have. It's important that it's S4, both in that previous fight and here, because when S4's dead, he's meant to be the initiator, he's meant to be the frontliner, and it's difficult for Alliance to contest the next objectives. They probably lose a tower, just like they lost the rush.
And that might be it, like a plumber's problem when the lakes are just springing all over the place, and now they don't have enough to cog them all up again, and OG have just found the bottleneck point, and they're going to just take the game over. Looks like an easy tier 2 is going to be secured. Split push attempt coming out as Nuts tries to add the pressure on the bottom lane here, but OG just kind of like a team that, if you had a hard enough time fighting them before, they're just going to be that much stronger. The next time you face them, expect an extra item there on your, or even 2 on your Alchemist, and another one there on the No-Tail. So if things aren't easy now, I don't think they're going to get any easier here for Alliance. So what is plan B there, Scant, for Alliance, if there is one?
Plan B is a wombo combo. I mean, they have a Darkseer in their draft, so there's always that potential for, like, Dragon Knight has splash damage, you're gonna vacuum everyone into, like, Tusk, Shard, Snowball, Gyro, Cooldown, Illuminates. I mean, it's really unlikely for that to succeed, but they do have the tools for some kind of wombo combo. It's definitely not, I think, what Alliance drafted for. It definitely is, if anything, a Plan B or maybe even a Plan C. But Miracle, unfortunately, has just gotten too far ahead now. For most of the game, he was 2 or 3k ahead, and that's like, okay, he's Alchemist. Even though you're kind of controlling the game, he's going to get a lot of farm. And now he's getting to that point where he's nearly double the next highest, which that's usually where Alchemists start to look like really terrifying.
He's pretty damn scary right now if I look at him, and I would imagine Alliance have got to feel the same. Wombo combo, maybe using a bit of that scary Alchemist against them with the benefit of a huge wall. Could be a good starting point, but for now they're just going to try his stall tactics here. It's what Coddle does best. It's one of the few things he can do, but of course Ice Frog took that away from him, not being able to do extra damage against the catapults. But speaking of the devil, Ake could be in trouble now as he gets easily swarmed. A mech is forced out now. Somehow makes it away with the help of the Surge, and Ake will live. And look at this. They might try to make a turn back on the No-Tail. He does still have that Aegis. Oh, vacuum back nicely on the fly. Has to use the Gray, but looks like could be going down nonetheless. That's 2 supports down from OG as Alliance charge forward. They need this fight. They are going to be losing nuts there, but S4 gets the follow-up, takes down No-Tail and his Aegis. Miracle in trouble. Buyback from Nuts immediately. They're going to move in. They almost got him. They got him. And now it looks like trying to make it back and away. No-Tail creeps out the back door. Will make it to safety. Moon goes out the other way. A big fight for Alliance. Earns them nearly a 16 to 1700 net worth swing. Some solid XP and maybe another breath of life. It's hard to say, but hey, they take down the Mighty Beast Miracle.
They killed the supports first, and that's the only reason they're able to kill Miracle. It's intelligence of Alliance to identify that if they just go straight onto Miracle, there's Dazzle and Winter Wyvern are just going to do too well to protect him. In fact, they actually killed the Winter Wyvern before it even managed to get a curse off. I'm not sure if he got a Glimmer Cape off, but it's very, very significant. If you can take out either of these supports without them using any of their skills, never mind both of them, suddenly the fight's going to look really good for Alliance. Usually OG's a team that doesn't let you do that.
They just got No-Tail bottom lane. Speaking of something that OG just not letting people do, that's something we don't see them let happen very often. He just gets grabbed on the bottom lane. I guess they weren't assuming Alliance were going to continue to fall through, and a greedy farming No-Tail bottom lane just gets kind of punished there.
Miracle is heading into his jungle on his own, actually, and S4's pretty close. I don't know if anyone can come back S4 up. Oh, actually, it's Miracle who's going on S4 here.
Uh-oh. Bops him with the stun, moves in, and starts to do the hammer thing. And can S4 make it away? No, he cannot. He will go down just as quick as the farm around him. And Miracle will just gobble up all the extra gold. Oh, it's got to be a bit of a diffuse right there for Alliance. But we'll just wait up for S4 to make his return. It doesn't cost him any sort of dragon form or BKB, I guess. Hard to find the light at the end of the tunnel for that one.
Silver Edge actually doing a lot of work against the Dragon Knights. Suddenly not that tanky. And probably probably the major parts of why Miracle actually completes that and didn't just stick to the Shadow Blade.
We'll see now.
Now there's actually a gem on the Dire side now. So that Night Stalker with his Ag Scepter and his gem. And they were,
Isn't it wonderful?
Alliance, when they were kind of ahead in the game, with the team with the gem, had more wards up, still couldn't control the map because of the Night Stalker.
Oh.
And now...
this is the problem. Yeah, Ake's like, oh, just a little man of light, but guess what? You're in Agnum's darkness. Dead old man immediately in mid lane. And now they're looking for Nuts, and they were just stalking him on the high ground, and now they're going to get 2 kills here. Snowball may delay things. Nice little bump jump there from Nuts, but... yeah, Winter's curse, fool. You're not going away there. So, OG, no mercy on the 2 supports. Take them down and already using that heavy vision advantage.
Yeah, you just can't have map control against the Night Stalker. It's almost impossible. And that's what I was saying earlier. There's more than one pro player that's mentioned that, this hero needs to change. Its ultimate needs to change. At very least, if it's going to give you that control of the map at nighttime, don't let it make it night all the time.
Radiant's middle tower.
Tier 2 crumbles down like nothing. And OG now is sending the high ground. It looks like it could be a 2-0 series for the boys against Alliance here after coming off their defeat to Na'Vi. Gonna get back in OG ways here. And look at this frickin' guy just hammer it home. just a demolition man right now. They're going to try to slow him down with the glyph. Looks like the return of Loda back into the base. OG will see this now, but they still want to get that tier 3. They grab it, and they'll walk back and away. There's a vacuum. There's a wall. They're going to be dropped in. OG say, see you later. Back up and away here. I don't think they're going to look to take the fight while the wall's down.
Yeah, S4 is also pretty low. Needed to heal up a bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one because Alliance, I feel like, to a large extent, had a good plan for this game, but it feels like it's mostly failed at this stage. I mean, I don't think they're out of the game. They're certainly not out of the game. Both in terms of the actual network lead, it's not that huge, and in terms of whether or not they could win. The issue, I think, actually, is that Alliance were too easily exploitable in terms of that split pushing and just like letting people die and getting value elsewhere. We saw them punish heroes over and over early on, but they had to come down with 3 or 4 heroes each time with those ganks. And maybe that's part of why they picked the Keep of the Lights, to be more mobile around the map. But ultimately, I think what Alliance's draft is maybe lacking this game is that single hero that could burst down heroes if they're alone. So that if OG heroes are just farming on their own somewhere, 1 hero, or maybe maximum 2, commit and kill you. Because otherwise, it sort of played into OG's hands that they needed to group up as several heroes each time they went and made a kill.
Well, Alliance here still feeling like they might want to get something done, or having S4 dance forward here, but as they charge on in, they'll see the jig is up. Alliance are not going to find an opportunity there in the mid lane, but maybe down and nearby, Loda is kind of dancing around. OG, who are now kind of taking Alliance's jungle as their own. And Aki's gonna be. Oh, you gotta be careful here. Oh, they weave themselves. Oh, they get weaved, and now they're moving in. There we go. Step back. They're gonna get the pull back. A decent one at that. Right on top. Mood could be in trouble and taken down instantly. Same with No Tail. He gets dropped. Look at that. 2 down already. Bulldog will be going down though to the hands of Miracle. And Miracle now gonna be dealing with S4. Gets stunned up. Aki there with the blast. This beast is hard to slay. And they're going to be forced back and away. Nuts can't handle even the acid spray right now. But he will eventually go down. And Alliance will just take down 4 from OG at the cost of only Bulldog. And now they move into Roche. And they're going to go for this one quick.
I'm going to call that a bait. It's quite subtle, but I feel like some of the Alliance heroes, they were moving backwards and forwards in a way that looked like they were pretending to be scared. That's what I feel like. And they managed to bait OG into a position where the wombo combo can actually happen. They can get the initiation, they can burst down a bunch of heroes really early on in the fights, and that's how they win the fights. So I think it's very impressive by Alliance actually to engineer that situation, and they will get a rush for it. So that does turn the dynamic of the game quite substantially, because they now might be able to look to moving down a lane somewhere.
You got to move through a couple of tier 2s, at least in mid and top lane. But I am very curious as well. And based on the composition of their team, you'd think that they would want to put this Aegis to use right away and try to push objectives before the game goes too long. But it's in a bit of a interesting time of the game. They're not as far ahead as they were probably hoping for with this draft, but at least there's still life. But they hold up that big fight. And all the supports even come together here. Ake looks like he's going to get a Rada Atos there. Can't obviously go for the Axe. He's going to have the long range slow and lots of extra life for himself. Especially if he needs to probably be that gem holder, which it looks like, I don't know, he's passing over for now. Looks like he'll grab it up. But what about Loda here, Scant? He's got over 4k gold here. What's the item here for this gyrocopter at this point, where you're probably going to have to look to engage sooner than later? If
he'll probably just go for the standard MKB. Yeah, he just picked up the Demon Edge. I mean, I guess you could consider the Rapier, but I don't think we're in Rapier territory here. Then again, recently it feels like Rapier territory, just like whenever the hell the player wants a Rapier, so I won't count it out.
They're going right to mid lane now. S4 pops his dragon form. OG knows something's fishy. They're not going out there right away. Everyone's still split apart, farming through the map. Alliance are just going to slow siege their way through this tier 2 now. OG not going to look to take a fight when absolutely necessary.
Mid-man has actually picked up a vitality boost of his own. I doubt he'd go for an Atos, so it could be for building up for a slow heart, or could actually be building up into an Octarine core, something I've seen on Night Stalkers before, to like really just permanently have Night on.
That's just so vicious, especially with a coddle in the game. It's just the worst thing ever, but you're right, I don't know. we've seen Moon plenty of times decide that he likes to go down the road of picking up those pub builds. He likes to say, and figures that might fit the bill for this one if he already has the essentials that you need on your Night Stalker. So I'm curious to see what it will go for as well. Could just be a trusty Crimson Guard or something if they feel they need the extra utility. But here we'll see Alliance pull back for now after they siege to a tier 2. Still a tier 2 standing at the top lane for them if they do want to go for it. But OG will just continue to take the time when necessary. And look at this item grab. No tail. Picking up the Blink Dagger on his PL. So a bit more of a safety rope, I suppose.
Yeah, it's his standard build, I think. And it's very, very good with the PL. One of the interactions that's nice is Doppelganger, like sort of giving you that delay so you can not take damage and blink out if you want to. Also just having opportunities to blink in and then save the Doppelganger so you don't have to Doppelganger in. It just gives you a lot of options. But honestly, I actually don't know. Usually the Alchemist PL strategy for OG, I feel like it's, Alchemist is plan A. And if Alchemist goes down in the fights, the enemy team's used enough things that the PL just starts gobbling people up. This game, I feel like No-Tail actually needs substantially more farm. I think there's enough on the Alliance side to identify the real Phantom Lancer very quickly, and he's actually kind of squishy once you've identified the real PL. So I do feel like we're still at the stage where if there's a fight, it's all about does Miracle stay alive or not. I don't think that we're going to see a fight where Miracle goes down and No-Tail just like cleans everyone up. That seems unlikely to me until he has 1 or 2 more items.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with the big amount of bursts Alliance can throw together. It would be pretty snappy, and that's almost what happened in that lower Alliance Woods fight where No-Tail came out from the back end of getting hit damn hard from that combo, and it was pretty quick to catch him as far as where the real PL was. Top lane, they'll clear out a tier 2, which will also secure in hand Loda and his MKB, and look at this, Alliance beginning to ascend into high ground now. We're going to start poking away at this tier 3. They want a game 3 here. OG are going to start rolling in, leading things out with the early weave. Crit's going to do his thing with ice shards. Loda has an Aegis, but I don't think you want to lose it that quick. We'll pull back.
Here comes Miracle. Was he going to stab himself?
Oh, he got nuts right at the last moment, and oh my goodness, he goes down in quick 4 slashes, and S4 could be next. A flank play from the Behemoth. As he steps in, they're going to get the catch on S4 with that Winter's Curse. Miracle will be able to clean him up. Now he looks to go for Loda. That's going to be his first life. On the back-end side, No-Tail and Moon both looking to clear out the supports here. Ake's forced forward, but right into the arms of Miracle where he's going to be going down. And now Loda hopes for just fly at least, but there's a shallow grave, and he quickly realizes he's not going to get anyone. And now he's got to run. The Beast is walking in. He's not in his ulti form, but he still hits like a truck. And there he goes to work now. Boom! Bops him down. Triple kill for Miracle, making a full 5-man wipe as Moon clears out the last one. And OG have just taken over.
Yeah, the thing I'd like to point out there, and it's something that has been discussed before, is that something that's significant about all these, fresh young talents, new stars, people like Miracle taking over the scene, is that they just have no limits in confidence. And there's a risk involved there. He flanks the enemy team on his own, and they have a gem. If they see him coming and disable him, he can get burst down. The fight's over. His team lost the fight, but he takes the risk, and it absolutely pays off because the initiation actually caught Alliance unready. They weren't ready for it. They were confused about what was going on, and before they knew it, 2 of their heroes were dead, and they just couldn't react.
And that's the unfortunate thing. They didn't have the vision up at that point, ready to go. No even standard high ground ward. They didn't know the entry was going to be there, and Miracle just creeps on in, and Alliance. It's a common phrase, but caught with their pants down. Alliance were certainly mooning something. They were done for, and with that, OG easily clean out mid lane here, and this is where you get a bit nervous for Alliance. Their lineup as it stood was already in the potential of fizzling out before they were able to at least take a fight in a Roche, but now that that's all been taken away and they get 5-man wiped, OG are really going to propel themselves that much further ahead, and now they got to start praying for what I see teams like Vici get stuck into at times, where they hope for the godly ice like Darkseer vacuum wall combo or something, because I don't know. It's going to be very tough otherwise.
I mean, we saw something like that once already this game, so it's possible. And I even felt like at that stage Alliance manufactured the position with like some kind of very subtle baiting. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I think that they know that that's a way they can win a fight. But they'll be unhappy because they felt like they had some kind of lead or some kind of initiative, and they've definitely lost that now.
He actually has that Octarine core. What a dirty Night Stalker player. He's like, forever Nightfall now. shift them back. If we look at the vision right now of Alliance, it's scary. And imagine being stuck in this, like, what is it? I don't know it mathematically, but it's like 80% of the game. You're going to be stuck in the dark, if that.
Oh, much more than that. It's 10-second downtime at a time now. So there's natural night, and then there's 10-second downtime on his LT, which is... So it's hardly ever going to be day again. If imagine Ake had gone for that Aghanim Scepter, would have been like a complete waste of gold.
Very unfortunate now for them, as OG just got that noose now tied up around the neck of Alliance, and they're going to just try to cinch it up as much as possible. Alliance scared right now. Scared children. Afraid to go out. They'll have to definitely employ the buddy-buddy system, but the farm is just not going to be coming at this point. And I don't know. Maybe they take a page out of the Miracle Book and pull out some rambunctious flank play and hope for a huge combo. We'll have to see. For now, just kind of relieving the pressure.
The downside of the Octarine build is that it doesn't really improve Nightstalker, the hero itself. So he's just playing the role of reconnaissance and, you know, relying on the fact that his teammates can win the fights in terms of damage outputs, etc. And I still think PL is like maybe a bit behind in terms of like doing the PL thing. But I do still think it's about the Alchemist, and we're going to see an initiation here.
There it is. They are going to go for the crazy flank. They look to move in, but immediately Loda gets cursed up, pops his BKB, and is just bloodthirsty for something. Get that dazzle! We can't get him. He's got a shallow grave. They're going to pull back and away, and already Ake in a bit of trouble as he gets swarmed from Big Daddy. 2 for 2 each way. Loda forced to retreat with Bulldog, and they both are going to get caught up now, and they both go down. Bulldog, please don't do this. Yeah, he's done for. Triple kill for No Tail. Double kill for Miracle. OG take another 5-man wipe, and it looks like they will be taking the series in a moment. 2-0. Buyback ready, I suppose, for Loda and S4 there, Scant, but I think that is the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I'd agree. Again, Miracle showed... I mean, OG have very clearly understood that they can't lose a fight unless Miracle dies. And previously they took a risk at the top lane when he just surprised them from behind. This time he waited. As the fight broke out, he like pulled out a bit and went in once Alliance committed a lot of spells, and what could they do to him? And well, he's just gonna go finish them off again now.
Oh, ow, ow, no, not him too. Oh, that is a hurt locker right there. OG take the game. And that means they'll take the series 2-0. It was a back-to-back series for OG. They dropped the first one against Na'Vi, but they'll reclaim some extra points now, taking a 2-0 against Alliance here. And, well, what do we take away from this, Scant, right now? Alliance tried to be a bit innovative here, but it didn't work out for them, unfortunately. But I mean, is there anything else?
I really like that Alliance didn't just go for their like fallback, try win the game economically approach.